the pain go away? And I don't think it does. I think the pain actually will remain, but there's a qualitative difference about that pain. And I think the best illustration for this is in the scars of Jesus in the hands and the feet. And I'm not trying to turn this into some religious talk. I promise I'm not going to do like an altar call at the end of this. I think it's a good illustration, and I think you can appreciate it even symbolically, or psychologically, even if you're not religious or something. But it's this idea of when Jesus was crucified, he took on the relational wounds of the world. That's the symbol, that's the idea. So he took on all the wounding that we experience and that we've put on other people on his shoulders, and it died. And that's like kind of symbolically relevant in the sense that the lie has to end. When you're having that relational and experiential encounter with the truth, there's a replacement. It's like the lie, I don't belong, I'm worthless, is replaced with the truth, I belong, I have meaning. Right? So there's some sort of death of the lie, and then in the resurrection of the truth, he still has scars, and it's such a weird part of the story. But what's interesting is that he goes on long walks with his disciples even though there's holes in his feet. He cooks fish with his friends even though he has holes in his hands, and he stokes a fire. It's like the wound serves as a remembrance, but it doesn't limit his freedom. It isn't experienced as a burden anymore. He still has mobility in the places of wounding. Does that make sense? I can't think of a better illustration for it. Yes, the pain is there. The scars are still there. They don't hinder you in the same way. You're not immobilized by the pain like you have been. You can drive the car. And then I also think another caveat here is I think we can forgive in layers. I think that's reasonable. In the same way that when you fix your car, maybe you've had a terrible car like I had in college. I had this $500 car that broke every month. And the problem is you hear a weird sound and you take it to the repair shop and you get that fixed, but then you drive it, you hear another weird sound, and it's we didn't really know that this part was broken until we fixed that part, and then we realized that was broken, that whole thing. I think it's just a scheme. I think they're just trying to get money from me. They knew it was broken. They waited to get me back in. I think sometimes you heal a wound and then it reveals this other thing that was there too. You heal stuff with your dad and then you realize, I think I have some stuff with mom. Or you heal stuff with dad and then you realize there's more to dad than I thought. You forgive one dimension of a relationship and then you realize there's this whole other dimension of the relationship I have to process. Different seasons of your life stress you in different ways. They push you in different ways, My mentor, Frank, when his dad died, his dad was physically violent towards him. And he went through a healing process similar. He described it in a different way within IFS, but he went through a healing process pretty similar and experienced a really strong degree of freedom in the way that I feel like I've experienced, but then he went to his father's funeral. And his father's funeral was deeply heavy, and he found himself with a tight chest, and with a lot of grief, and some of the anger resurfaced, and he held space for that. And I asked, do you think that means that you weren't really healed? He's like, no, I just think that healing has layers, and we can be gentle with ourselves. We can offer ourselves the nurture and the kindness in times of ambiguity and uncertainty. Perhaps maybe even some of the kindness and uncertainty that you didn't receive. And that's okay. And so therefore that question of have I really forgiven actually has a lot more flexibility to it. I don't think there's this big pressure. Do you ever really heal from trauma? I think so. Yes. And we can heal in layers. I think there is a state where the wounds that you're holding in your heart here, therapist, doctor, social worker, teacher, volunteer, everyone sitting in this room, they deserve to be healed. There's no one who can heal it for you. There's no justice that can soothe it. Not down to its core. It is yours, only yours. And you have the hardware to fix it. I thought when I was working in maladaptive sexual behavior, working with these kids, that my work was pointless, that my work was useless. I was wrong. I loved those kids. And I spoke into their lives what I saw in them. And the whole world looked at them as a perpetrator. try to name the truth. And I really do believe that some of them were able to take in some of that love, and it's not my responsibility to open that place in their hearts for them, but just to be that place of love for them. That's your responsibility too. You can't heal that car in their heart any more than someone can heal yours. But you do have a responsibility as someone who walks alongside to be loving and to attend, to witness the experience, to get out of your theoretical model for a moment, just to be human and sit in the chair with another human being. And just feel for them. And let them see how you feel for them. That's what heals. That's what presents the opportunity for healing. Maybe let's say it that way. And I was so grateful to find out that I've been helping people heal the whole time. And I didn't need to know the perfect model. And I didn't need to know the perfect answer. I didn't need the perfect tool. It was deep in my core the whole time as a human. And it's in yours too. I'm grateful for the time that I've had with you. Thank you so much.